Welcome to another episode of Lifting the Lid on Technology. My name is Barry White, your host and VCIO at SoftSource vBridge. This episode is brought to you by HP, advancing workplace performance with AI-driven devices. This episode is part 2 of a 2-part series where I continue my conversation with Lauren Nobbs from Microsoft New Zealand. We also talk about Copilot and AI skills in the workplace, along with the latest features you can expect to see over the months ahead. So I was really keen on take the opportunity today. I know that at Microsoft you get the benefit of being able to use a lot of these tools long before us mere mortals get a chance to see them. But within the limits of what you can talk about, Lauren, I know you yourself have got access to the new Copilot UI, which I've seen screenshots of, and the best as you can, given this is an audio podcast. What do you want to tell us about that? And then we could perhaps have a bit of chat about a couple of the new agents that are coming through as well.
The new UI is really to help streamline the experience of Copilot across our different services so that the consumer, the Copilot Chat and M365 Copilot all look quite similar, and that the experience for customers is more unified across the different platforms. So it's a little bit, so you've kind of got the same Copilot problem in the middle. We normally see, so in the old UI, you have your agents and your prompts on the right side, and then you can have apps on the left. Is switching over, so you're going to have your list of Copilot Chat, you're going to have your agents, your conversations, and then your apps on the bottom as well. So on the left side, and the new UI is pretty hard to explain without being able to show you, but it's really good.
The big one though is the search, right?
Yep. So new search is coming. I don't have access to the search yet. We don't quite have it. But I do have access to research and analysts, which are our new reasoning agents, which I love. I've been using them nonstop. So it's really powerful. So it's using reasoning models, so both research and analyst. So the difference between Copilot Chat and any of these AI tools that we're using standard LLMs or like the basic ones like GPT-4, 3.5, all of those ones, reasoning models are able to tackle kind of larger and more complex queries. So rather than just answering quickly a simple question, they can break down problems into more manageable chunks, work through those, research them, and then provide a more well-rounded conclusion. So it's incredibly powerful. Researcher is able to research across all of your data internally and external sources or whatever you feed it. The responses are incredibly comprehensive. I've only had it for just over a week, but to give you some examples of what I'm using it for, preparing for if I'm going to do a presentation to a new industry or a new, like a conference, for example, I will use researchers to give research around how those industries, based on our internal use cases with those industries and external information, how they're best benefiting from it. Give me customer examples, give me the most common questions that those industries would be interested in when it comes to AI. So I'm giving really full rounded things. So that's really helpful when I'm kind of dealing with lots of different customers in different industries around this product. So for internal purposes, like I use them for an example would be performance reviews. So because it's able to do really comprehensive research across all of the work you've done, who you've collaborated with, the impact that you've had, it can pull really specific examples and insights that you can use to then writing up a performance review, for example, and preparing for that.
So really, and I haven't had the benefit that you've had of actually using it, but from some of the screenshots and things that I've seen, as opposed to you perhaps just creating a prompt and then getting a sort of response back that may be a few paragraphs or whatever with some citations. Now potentially you're getting almost a complete report, right?
Yes.
And the agent will come back and ask you qualifying questions rather than you prompting. It'll actually come back and say, hey, do you want to know this and do you want to know that? And then keep doing more work as it goes, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the experience. So you'll have, you put in your prompt, it will first come back with some questions, request more detail from you so it can do that bigger response, and then it produces that full report. And then from the analyst side, it does the reasoning, so the reasoning component, and uses Python to present the analysis back to you. So both agents are really very exciting.
Right, so our listeners, you've got 2 distinct agents there, although they're similar, I guess, in ways. You've got researcher and analyst, right? But researcher more towards just what it says, research, whereas analyst is more around sort of numbers and scientific applications, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the couple of elements you mentioned that I'll just add to as well is, in terms of changes, is the people skills part. So this is an evolution of fever people, I'm sure. And this is to help you find people who will navigate within your organization. So, who is the best person to help me with this thing? So you kind of build skill profiles, and then Copilot is able to help you identify the right people in the organization to support that. From a manager perspective, it can help with building these pathways of like training and skilling for their employees. And then memory is also coming. So from a memory perspective, how that will work is that Copilot will be able to remember details about you and your work across interactions. So right now, across kind of all AI tools, I guess, and tool memory gets brought in, it will remember context from that one conversation or previous prompts in that interaction. With memory, it can remember things across interactions. So an example, a really simple example of that would be if I said, what's a dinner recipe I can make with XYZ, it might remember from previous conversations that I'm a vegetarian or that I have these preferences. That's a really simple example. From a work perspective, I might be doing some more research or questions with Copilot and will remember from previous interactions that I'm working on this particular presentation or this particular project with the client. So it helps AI or Copilot feel more like a trusted, personalized assistant. But on the same time, because I always get questions about this, so in a reiterate, you have control over the memory. So you can actually go in and see the memories that Copilot has made about you, and you can delete them if you want to. So you have control, and only you can access them. But you could go in, say it remembered that I'm working on this project, this client, this is the priority for me. That's a big part of season 2. We're talking about AI we're in season 2 now. Season 1 was really about how we can use AI to summarize information, to generate content for us, to do data-driven decisioning. Season 2 is about how we're bringing in reasoning, we're bringing in memory, we are bringing more personalization, things like prioritize my inbox, stuff like that.
Yeah. So we're kind of, I guess you could look at it through 2 lenses, couldn't you? On one hand, you're getting really a true assistant that's now starting to personally get to know you, and possibly over time will start to even remind you about things that you're supposed to be doing from something you talked about last week, right? But you're also looking through the other lens, you're possibly for a lot of people getting into a slightly scary territory too, right? Because you've got this agent that's actually remembering exchanges that you had possibly a week, even months ago, right?
Totally. And there's definitely, it can feel a bit weird. I've used, because the memory part was in the consumer version of Copilot first, and I actually quite like it because I like the fact that it remembers details from me. It makes the responses more accurate to what I'd be interested in. But I think as long as you know that you have that full control, it's not making up things about, you have that control of what you wanted to remember is reassuring, and it's only something you can access. So it's not like other people in the organization can go and have a look at that memory.
I think in my case, my wife's going to suggest that it's extremely useful because she's always telling me I'm forgetting what you told me yesterday. So, so who knows? It might actually come in handy, right? There are a couple of other agents out there I know, and these are just ones that people have asked me about a lot. Even a year ago when Copilot first came out. But Interpreter, I think that's going to be a really interesting space to watch, right? So,
yes,
we've had multiple languages for a while, but now we're talking about an agent. So I understand, I've not seen it again firsthand, but this is an agent that can now in real time, as you're having a meeting, be that interpreter for you, right?
In full transparency, I don't speak any other languages. So when I've tested it out, I've changed language. I will say, so there's currently 8 supported languages that will grow. You turn it on, and so basically it allows anyone in the meeting to translate the meeting in real time to the language of their preference. But what you can also do is set it up so that the interpreter agent will sound like you. So when it does start, just talk in different language, it doesn't interpret it. It will speak still like how you sound, which is going to make the experience feel far more real. But in terms of my experience using it, it definitely wasn't, a traditional kind of translation kind of services and teams. It's very real time, so it does feel very natural. And I've had really great feedback, particularly from customers or partners who have teams around the world. It's massively helping in that space.
I think also, and I've had this feedback from a few people, not just for those individuals perhaps that are working internationally, as you say, but also, our organisation included, you've got a lot of people now who English is their second language, right? And so sometimes in a meeting context, they struggle sometimes to explain or express what they actually want to say. They can potentially speak in their native language and have that interpreted for them, which I think could be a real benefit. And the last one I want to ask you about is Facilitator. Now, I've seen this demoed by Microsoft last year. But that one looks really interesting. So now this is an agent that basically sits in your meetings, I guess, as a bit like a personal assistant and takes notes and reminds you of things during the meeting. Possibly does some analysis as well. For example, if you put a spreadsheet on screen, and these are just the demos I've seen. Tell me if this is not what it's going to deliver on day one, but I've seen examples of this agent, put an Excel spreadsheet up and ask it a question, and it'll analyze the spreadsheet in real time while you're having a meeting.
Yeah, absolutely right. So with the facilitate agent, the facilitator will effectively join as another attendee or another participant in your meeting. It takes the notes in real time. So you'll see when you're in a meeting, you'll have the kind of Copilot part of it, and then there's a notes section, and that has a loop component, and it will write the notes through the meeting so you can then co-author them, add them, and work with them while the meeting's happening. Those tasks are also able to be, that it writes, able to be assigned to people from their meeting. So with the standard, I guess, Copilot recap that you get in Teams, you have those follow-up tasks, but you can't assign them to anyone from there. But with the ones captured by facilitator, you can put due dates against them. And then, the on the screen understanding as well is also, love this part, because what I personally found difficult is when I was on a meeting and only transcription was turned on but no recording. So you're looking at the notes and maybe someone's talking about numbers on a spreadsheet or talking about a slide, and you don't have that image to reference what that was about. So with this, the recap will be able to also include what people have shared on their screen while the meeting's happened, and that will be included in the notes along with screen grabs or pictures of the screen at the time for each of those points in the conversation.
Yeah, wow. When can we expect to start to see some of the stuff actually to land here in New Zealand? I mean, I'm hearing timeframes of roughly end of June, maybe to coincide with the upcoming Build conference, but what's your take on that?
These different features, they do have slightly different ones. So the interpreter agent is already generally available. Facilitator, I'm pretty sure, I think it's in public preview. With research and analysts, they are currently available to the Frontier program in the US, but they're not available in ANZ yet. I don't have an exact date, but I expect it will be over the next few months. We'll start to see that become more available, but I'm not sure on the dates exactly. We do have a public roadmap though. So if you search Microsoft 365 roadmap, it will just be the first search result. You can go in there, filter it by Copilot, and then you can see for each of the individual features when the expected release date will be for generally available.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that. Before you go, I've got to get you to do one thing. And for those of you listening to the podcast, you're not going to see this, but I can on the video, of course. Is your nails. You've got all of these coloured nails, which are coloured. I'll have to describe them for anybody listening, but they're basically coloured like the Copilot icon, right?
They are. They're in order exactly of how the Copilot icon is too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
On brand.
On brand.
Hey, Lauren, I would love to have you back sometime. Maybe later this year you could come back, and I know there's so many updates coming out. It's like drinking out of a fire hydrant, right? So maybe we could have you back sometime and you could give us some updates. No, look, thank you for coming on, and it's great to see you again.
No problem. Listen, thanks for having me.